Welcome. So good to be with you on this Wednesday as we get together for a little midweek Bible study and devotional time. So glad you've taken some time out of your day, out of your week to join us to dive into God's Word and hopefully be uplifted and encouraged and maybe even a little bit challenged by what He has to say to us. Most of us are probably familiar with the story of Jonah, whether it's, some may know, a whole lot of the story. Maybe you just know bits and pieces of the story, but it's about this Old Testament prophet who runs from God's mission, God's call for him to go preach to these people that were enemies of Jonah's people. And so Jonah did not like that idea, needless to say. And so he tried to run from that. He literally got on a boat headed in the complete opposite direction of where God had wanted him to go. And while he's on that boat, God sends a storm to get Jonah's attention because he still wants him to do the job that God called him to do. And eventually, Jonah is hurled into the sea. He's thrown overboard and he's falling into the depths of the sea. And then, perhaps the most famous part of the story of Jonah is as Jonah is sinking down, God sends this huge fish to then swallow Jonah. And Jonah's in that fish for 3 days and 3 nights. And when it comes to Jonah, we've all been where Jonah was at one point or another. There's more to the story afterwards, and certainly some more details that I didn't walk through before that. But where Jonah's at in the belly of the fish as he's sinking down, then as he gets swallowed by this big fish, where Jonah's at, we've all been again at one point or another. Maybe not, physically in the bottom of the sea or in the belly of a fish, like Jonah was, but in our lives, right? Where we're at our wits' end and we've hit rock bottom and things have gotten about as bad as it seems like they could get, right? When you feel like you've sunk about as far as you can go, relationally, spiritually, emotionally, wherever it may be, maybe all of those things. And maybe you even wonder, as I'm sure Jonah did too, if God has given up on you. Jonah knew that feeling. But it's in that lowest place that Jonah finally does what he hasn't done the whole story up to this point. He prays, he talks to God. The whole point up to this point, he's been running from God, but now he talks to God. And Jonah chapter 2, verses 1 through 2 says, "From inside the fish, Jonah prayed to the Lord his God. He said, 'In my distress, I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From deep in the realm of the dead, I called for help, and you listened to my cry.'" Notice Jonah says, "I called God, and you answered. I called God, and you listened." Even in the darkest place, even in our lowest moments, God hears and God answers. Jonah goes on to describe being swallowed by the deep and engulfed by currents and barred in forever. He felt trapped and helpless, and maybe that's where you feel today or a season in your life at some point, overwhelmed by life or by the choices that you've made or by the choices that other people have made, or maybe just circumstances in your life that are out of your control. No matter what it is or where you are, here's the hope that you have. God has not abandoned you. Jonah's story proves that even when you're down, you've gone down by your own choices and the choices of others, about as far as you can go, you're never beyond the reach of his grace. And listen, sometimes God doesn't remove us from the storm right away, right? But he uses the storm, and he uses, in this case, the fish as well, to bring Jonah back to him. And sometimes he does that for us as well. What feels like punishment may actually be preservation. The fish wasn't Jonah's grave, it was his rescue. And so Jonah reminds us that no one is too far gone for God to hear their prayer. Rock bottom can actually become the starting point of renewal, and God's grace is greater than any of our mistakes or shortcomings or failures or whatever it may be. And so if you're in the belly of the fish season in your life, stuck, struggling, discouraged, whatever it may be, what would it look like for you to lift up a prayer today? Even a simple one. Maybe your prayer is, "Lord, I need you. Lord, I can't do this alone. Lord, thank you for not giving up on me." Maybe it's just as simple as, "Lord, I don't even know what to pray, but I just ask for your guidance." Whatever your words may be, you can trust that God will hear and he will answer. His grace and his mercy are only a prayer away. Hope you have a blessed day. God bless.